The lantern's glow cut through the frost on the cabin window, the first sign of life Jack Harlan had seen in his remote Montana ranch house in 10 long years. He eased off his horse, every muscle in his rugged frame coiled tight. His old Remington revolver weighed heavily on his belt. Out here in the Bitterroot Valley, 40 miles from Missoula, uninvited guests spelled trouble poachers, squatters, or something far worse. But when he nudged the door open, what waited inside stopped him cold. A woman sat in Rebecca's old rocking chair, flipping through Rebecca's personal journal by the dim light of a kerosene lamp. Her auburn hair tumbled over her shoulders like autumn leaves in the wind, and those slender hands that had once brushed his cheek in better days now turned the pages with care. Rebecca. The name slipped out like a ghost from his lips. She looked up, her hazel eyes locking onto his, familiar yet sharper, more vibrant. "I'm Laura," she said softly. "Rebecca's sister." Jack's fingers twitched toward his gun. In that instant, the fortress he'd built around his shattered heart started to crack. 10 years of isolation, 10 years grieving a faithful marriage, and now Thesa, living echo of his lost wife, planted right in her spot. What does a man do when yesterday crashes back, dressed in temptation and tangled with guilt? Bitterroot Valley, November 2005. The wind whipped through the pine-covered hills, hinting at the savage winter that had already claimed too many livelihoods in these parts. But Jack Harlan had grown numb to the chill. He'd been a different man once, before the blizzard of '95 stole everything worth holding. Memories hit him like a gut punch. Rebecca Thompson, fresh off the Amtrak from Seattle at 22, a city girl with designer jeans and that polished way urban folks carried themselves like the world was their playground. But when she locked eyes with Jack at the local rodeo, she saw more than a calloused rancher with dirt under his nails. She saw a future. "You don't say much," she'd teased that night, her hand light on his arm during a slow dance. "Not much worth saying to someone like you." He'd shot back, blunt as ever. Her laugh rang out like wind chimes on a porch. 2 months later, she'd ditched her high society life for him-swap cocktail parties for log cabins, city lights for starry Montana skies. For 2 blissful years, it worked. He saw her joy in the little things, humming while flipping pancakes at dawn, racing out to meet him after a day herding cattle, the letter she penned to her kid sister Laura, bursting with tales of their simple, perfect life. "I never knew peace could feel this real," she'd whispered one evening, head on his shoulder as the sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the pastures crimson. Then the storm of '95 rolled in like Judgment Day. January brought sub-zero temps and snowdrifts that buried the world. Rebecca caught a vicious flu in week 3. By week 6, Jack was chiseling her grave in the iron-hard ground outback. She faded, calling his name, her eyes fever-glazed, staring at some horizon he couldn't reach. Back in the present, November 2005, and now her sister perched in their home, poring over Rebecca's intimate words. The likeness stabbed at him, but where Rebecca had been calm, like a steady stream, Laura burned like a brush fire. "How'd you track me down?" he growled, finally holstering his weapon. "Rebecca's letters," Laura explained, rising to her feet. He noticed how the mountain air had already toughened her city softness, giving way to something raw and resilient. "She wrote about you, this ranch, finding real happiness." "Happiness?" The word soured in his mouth. "She died here in that bed, begging for help I couldn't give." "She lived first," Laura countered, her tone sharper than Rebecca's ever was. 2 years of true living more than most get. Outside, the wind howled, rattling shutters. A blizzard brewed in his bones, and with Missoula 40 miles through treacherous passes, this woman, this perilous shadow of his past, was stuck for the night. maybe longer. It should have scared him senseless. Instead, watching her navigate Rebecca's kitchen with effortless poise, a flicker of warmth stirred in his chest, dangerously close to life after a decade of death. 3 weeks blurred by like a fevered haze. Laura couldn't boil water without scorching it truant eggs, oversalted stew, coffee strong enough to wake the dead. But damn if she didn't try every sunrise. She was hopeless on horseback, too. First cattle check, she tumbled off twice, nearly stomped by a jittery steer. As she hauled herself up each time, dust-caked and defiant. Rebecca had taken to ranch life like breathing, graceful from day one. Laura battled for every inch, earning blisters and bruises through pure grit. And God forgive him, Jack caught himself staring. The way she chewed her lip in focus, swiped stray hair with a grimy hand, the elegant sweep of her neck where she laughed at her own mishaps. She was nothing like Rebecca. She was everything like her. Then came the night that shattered the fragile peace. December gales screamed around the cabin. Jack had ridden to Missoula for supplies, leaving Laura Solo a choice he'd curse forever. He caught the whiff of trouble first, cigarette smoke and sweat. 2 roughnecks had her pinned inside, drifters from the oil fields, reeking of cheap booze and entitlement. Through the window, Jack saw Laura cornered against the wall, Rebecca's antique shotgun trembling in her grip. One intruder advanced slowly, leering. "Easy, darling. Just need a warm spot for the night. And some company. Get out." Laura snapped, voice steady but eyes wide with fear. The man chuckled. "You even know how to use that?" Jack moved like a predator, skills honed from guarding his herd against coyotes and the 2-legged kind. His knife silenced the first intruder before he could blink, sliding between ribs with a wet thud. The second whirled, only to stare down Jack's Remington barrel. "Out," Jack commanded, his quiet voice laced with death. The survivor glanced at his fallen buddy and fled into the storm. When the chaos cleared, Laura crumpled into Jack's arms, shotgun clattering down. She shook like aspen leaves, feeling fragile for the first time since arriving. "You're safe," he murmured into her hair, inhaling her faint lavender scent. She lifted her gaze, hazel eyes dark in the firelight, and the air between them ignited some boundary crossed, some restraint snapped. She wore one of Rebecca's old sundresses, the floral one with buttons down the front. Her hair had loosened in the scuffle, cascading in waves. In the flickering glow, she was a vision that twisted his insides. "Jack," she breathed, her voice unraveling him. His hands cupped her face, thumbs tracing her jawline. She leaned in, lips parting, pulse racing at her throat. The dress had ripped, bearing her shoulders' smooth curve. His eyes lingered, and instead of retreating, she undid another button, then one more. Fabric whispered away, revealing soft lines that made his breath hitch. She was exquisite, skin luminous in the flames, making his fingers tremble. When she tugged at his shirt buttons, exposing his scarred chest marks from years of hard knocks, she didn't resist. Her touch trailed fire across his skin. "Laura," he rasped, equal parts caution and craving. But she ignored the warning, her hands fumbling with his belt. As skin met skin, the outside world vanished. They stumbled toward the bed, clothes pooling on the floor. She reclined on the pillows, hair fanning like a halo. Reaching for him, and he was gone, lost in need. Until his gaze snagged on the bedside photo, Rebecca's wedding picture, her soft smile piercing him like accusation. What the hell was he doing? This was Rebecca's bed, Rebecca's space, Rebecca's sister. "I can't," he bolted back, yanking on his shirt. "God, I can't." He stormed to the barn, leaving Laura bewildered and wounded in the tangled sheets. Outside, the storm quieted, but inside Jack, a tempest raged. Some desires, once stirred, clawed back relentlessly. For 3 agonizing days, they circled like wary wolves. Jack buried himself in chores, fixing unbroken fences, tending healthy cattle, patrolling his land until exhaustion numbed him. Anything to dodge the betrayal in Laura's eyes. She acted normal, brewed his coffee, botched his meals. But the easy banter died, replaced by a suffocating tension that shrank the cabin to a cage. On the 4th dawn, she vanished. No goodbye, just an empty room and tire tracks fading toward Missoula. Jack stood in the doorway, clutching Rebecca's photo 01 that had saved him from ruin or maybe robbed him of salvation. He couldn't decide. 2 hours later, he gunned his truck toward town. Missoula's bus station hummed with frontier bustle. Tourists, workers, families chasing horizons or fleeing regrets. The afternoon Greyhound to Seattle idled, exhaust curling in the cold. Jack spotted her instantly. Laura on the platform in her travel coat, the same one from her arrival, suitcase at her feet. She stared at the bus like it was a prison sentence, looking vulnerable, stripped of the fire she'd shown facing those thugs. The driver barked, "All aboard," as folks climbed on. Jack approached, boots thudding on concrete. She sensed him, shoulders stiffening, but didn't turn. "Running?" he asked. "Going home." Her voice held steady pain. "Is there a difference?" She faced him, eyes raw. "You made it clear what I am to you a mistake. You're the most dangerous woman I've known," he admitted. "You can make me break every vow, cross every line I swore to hold. And that's so awful." The bus horn blared final call. Laura grabbed her bag, but hesitated. "She's gone, Jack. Rebecca's been dead 10 years, and you've been buried with her." "Maybe that's right." She stepped nearer, her lavender scent teasing him. But is it what she'd want? Before he could respond, she boarded. Through the window, their eyes met as the bus rumbled to life. Laura pressed her hand to the glass, wavering like she might halt it. But she didn't. Jack watched it vanish around the curve, hauling her back to Seattle and a world without him. He drove home to his hollow ranch and the specters lurking there. But some specters fight to live. 2 days of torment followed Jack, pacing like a trapped bear, haunted by her ghost. Her off-key humming over burnt toast, curled in Rebecca's chair by the fire, sheets still scented with lavender and remorse. On the 3rd morning, he hitched his trailer without thinking, body overriding his stubborn mind. He had to bring her back. The drive to Missoula dragged eternally, each mile a battlefield for his resolve. What words could fix this? The station shimmered in midday haze as he pulled up, scanning frantically. There she stood beside luggage stacks, her coat swapped for a simple plaid shirt, Rebecca's floral dress underneath, the one with those damned buttons. Waiting for the eastbound bus, but gazing west toward him. Their eyes connected across the crowd, silencing the chaos. Jack strode over slowly, like taming a spooked mare. "Thought you headed to Seattle." "Made a debut," she whispered. "Couldn't go farther." "Why?" She studied her hands, Rebecca's hands, but tougher now, callous from ranch work. "On that bus, I realized something. Rebecca didn't just write about this place. She wrote about you, the man who made her smile with a glance, showed her beauty in the everyday, loved her so deeply he'd rather rot than dishonor her." The horn wailed, "All aboard." But she also wrote about wanting you happy, not just surviving. Jack's defenses shattered, 10 years' walls dust. "Laura, don't," she raised a hand. "Say nothing. If you want me on that bus, back to Seattle, in some suit named Victor, vanishing forever, I'll go." She closed the gap, gold flecks in her eyes gleaming. "But if you want me home, if Rebecca might forgive us for choosing life over ghosts." Final boarding echoed. Folks rushed aboard. Jack seized her hand, warm, solid, alive. "Come home," he grated, emotion raw after a decade dormant. Come home with me. The bus departed empty of them. As his truck carried them back through rolling hills, their silhouettes stretched, long not fleeing history, but forging ahead. Together, they'd heal scars, build anew, honoring the past while embracing what bloomed from its Ashisa love, fierce, earned, unbreakable. What do you think about Jack and Laura's story? Should he have stayed loyal to Rebecca's memory forever, or was it right to move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments, take a stand, share your view. I'd love to hear if this tale stirred something in you.